Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. US Open 2025 live reaction. Amanda Anisimova and Aryna Sabalenka reached the women's final U.S. Open Day 12, women's semifinals. Defending champion Aryna Sabalenka, 1, will face Amanda Anisimova, 8, in the women's singles final of the 2025 US Open on Saturday. Semifinals day saw the world number 1 beat Jessica Pegula 4 in 3 sets, repeating her victory over the American in last year's final. That was followed on Arthur Ashe by Amanda Anisimova, 8, also needing 3 sets, as the Wimbledon finalist came from behind to beat Naomi Osaka, 23. The two winners will face off on Saturday for the title, after the men's semifinals take center stage on Friday. And with that, attention switches to the men's singles semifinals, which happen later today, once you've all got some sleep. Here is the Friday schedule at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Novak Djokovic 7 versus Carlos Alcaraz 2. Not before 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Jannik Sinner 1 versus Felix Auger-Aliassime 25. From 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be another big day of semifinals action in New York, and we'll be right there with you for it. Here's some of your thoughts from Amanda Anisimova's late 3-set victory over Naomi Osaka in her semifinal on Arthur Ashe. Speech balloon Jan B. What a warrior. Exorcising her defeat to Iga Swiatek and prevailing after 2 tiebreaks in the semifinal. And she leads the H2H versus Sabalenka. She has everything she needs to win now. Speech balloon Anon. What a great run for Naomi Osaka at this year's US Open. A tough loss tonight, but she is definitely back. Incredible tenacity from Amanda Anisimova. I hope she can rest and recover in the next 36 hours, and then win the trophy on Saturday. Speech balloon Brian C. Great match. Seemed like Osaka sorta gave up a little during the middle of the 3rd set. Lots of poor shots from her, and a lot of defeated looks from her after losing points. But to her credit, she seemed to pull it back together during the last couple games. Just too late. Should be a fun final. Again, you can get your thoughts to us with an email to live@theathletic.com. Our inbox is always open. As for Amanda Anisimova, it was just as hard work, if a little more airstream, in tonight's second semifinal against Naomi Osaka. The brilliant Matthew Futterman breaks it all down in the link below, including this. Memo, late in the 2nd set at Arthur Ashe Stadium, Anisimova had looked spent. She heaved for oxygen after nearly every point. She struggled to spring her legs into her serve, but she kept grinding, and as Osaka slipped, suddenly missing the court on 4 consecutive points in the 2nd set tiebreak, Anisimova surged. Here is a key comment from J.H. on Aryna Sabalenka's semifinal victory over Jessica Pegula on Arthur Ashe earlier tonight. Speech balloon, a sold-out Arthur Ashe Stadium, just watched a gripping 2-hour US Open women's semifinal. Proof, again, that women's tennis belongs on prime time. Amelie Mauresmo, were you watching? Too bad Pegula didn't pull it out. She was deserving. In case you were wondering how Aryna Sabalenka bypassed Jessica Pegula in the opening semifinal on Arthur Ashe, the delightful Charlie Eccleshare has you covered with his piece below. As Charlie writes, Memo Sabalenka has the chance to defend her crown on Saturday and end the year with the major she so desperately craves, to rubber stamp her place at the top of the rankings. This rematch of the 2024 final was generally high quality, but it was Sabalenka, who has struggled in tight matches many times, including this year and previously against home players on this court, who just had the edge against a player whom she had beaten in 7 of 9 meetings. The full piece is linked below. What a big night for Amanda Anisimova. At 24 years old, she becomes the youngest player to reach the women's singles finals at both Wimbledon and the US Open in the same season since. Serena and Venus Williams did it in 2002. Excellent work that. A great slam, but this will still hurt Osaka. A quick wave, but not much more. There will be plenty of positives for Naomi Osaka to take from her 2 weeks in New York, but it will sting right now. Her eyes were lighting up at the chance for a 3rd US Open title, with some big seeds already dispatched. Those chances don't come along very often. walking just out of a stadium, and fans are putting on ponchos in the lower bowl concourse to avoid getting wet from the rain. It's still windy, but looks like the heavy rain has stopped. U.S. Open 2025 live reaction. Amanda Anisimova and Aryna Sabalenka reach the women's final. Day 12 of the 2025 U.S. Open will be remembered as one of those rare evenings in New York when tennis seemed to rise beyond sport. 2 semifinals, 4 extraordinary women, 1 pulsating crowd. By the end of it, Amanda Anisimova and Aryna Sabalenka had punched their tickets into the final, each with a story that belongs not only to this tournament but to the broader arc of women's tennis itself. The atmosphere inside Arthur Ashe Stadium was electric from the start. The setting sun painted streaks of orange and pink across the sky, as if the city itself understood that history was in the making. Fans streamed in with flags, signs, and jerseys, eager to witness the drama. By midnight, after 4 hours of gripping tennis, the world had its championship matchup. Anisimova, the reborn American, and Sabalenka, the relentless world #1 contender. Let's walk through the night, moment by moment, as it unfolded. Scene 1. Anisimova versus Osaka, the first battle. Pre-match tension. The opening semi-final already carried the weight of narrative. Amanda Anisimova, once hailed as the prodigy of American tennis, had fought her way back into the elite after years of setbacks. Naomi Osaka, the 2-time U.S. Open champion, was back in her favorite city, eager to reclaim the crown after her own long road of recovery and motherhood. 2 women who had disappeared and re-emerged on the sport's grand stage were now set to collide. The crowd leaned slightly toward Osaka. New York remembers her iconic wins, her fearless spirit. But there was also a quiet buzz for Anisimova. She was the underdog, the comeback kid, the one with everything to gain. The match. Osaka came out sharp, her serve cracking like a whip, her forehand dictating rallies. She snatched the first set 6-3 with ruthless efficiency. For a moment, it looked like the script was already written. Osaka, the veteran, marching to another final. But then the shift came. At 4-5 in the second set, Osaka served for the match. The crowd rose to its feet, ready for the finish. Instead, they witnessed defiance. Anisimova, with her fearless backhand, broke back. Her scream echoed through the stadium. Suddenly, momentum flipped like a switch. From there, Anisimova grew taller, bolder. Her winners clipped the lines, her serve steadied, her eyes blazed with belief. Osaka, rattled, faltered in the crucial moments. Final score, 3-6, 7-5, 6-3. The reaction. Anisimova fell to her knees, overcome by emotion. The crowd, even those who had cheered for Osaka, roared for her courage. She had done what few thought possible, rally past one of the greatest champions in the sport to reach her second Grand Slam final of the year. Osaka left with dignity, applauding her opponent. She played fearless, she later said. She deserved this tonight. Anisimova's run was no longer a story of revival. It was a story of destiny. Scene 2. Sabalenka versus Pegula, the power struggle. Pre-match expectations. If the first semi-final was a narrative of resurrection, the second was a test of dominance. Aryna Sabalenka, the powerhouse from Belarus, had been the most consistent player of the season. She arrived in New York determined to prove her mettle after heartbreaking exits in past editions. Across the net stood Jessica Pegula, the American who had become the definition of reliability, often reaching the later rounds, but still searching for that breakthrough moment. The crowd, unsurprisingly, tilted heavily in Pegula's favor. It was, after all, her backyard. The match. Sabalenka began like a hurricane. Her first serve exploded. Her forehand tore through the court. Pegula, though steady, looked overwhelmed by the sheer force. But Pegula is nothing if not resilient. She broke Sabalenka midway through the first set, briefly raising hope of an upset. The stadium erupted, sensing the possibility. Sabalenka answered back with fury. She broke Pegula at 5-5 and closed the set 7-5 with a scream that reverberated across Queens. The second set followed a similar pattern. Pegula fought bravely, using her tactical brain to draw Sabalenka into rallies. She even led 4-2 at one stage. But Sabalenka, like a storm, found another gear. She broke back, then broke again, closing the match 7-5, 6-4. The reaction. Sabalenka dropped her racket, fists pumping, her eyes wild with intensity. She had finally conquered the weight of expectations at the U.S. Open. Her team leapt from their seats, knowing this was not just another win. It was a breakthrough of belief. Pegula, meanwhile, received a standing ovation. Though she fell short, she proved she belonged on the biggest stage, her grit resonating with the New York crowd. Scene 3, the bigger picture. Two paths converge. When the dust settled, the finalists were clear: Amanda Anisimova and Aryna Sabalenka. Two women, two contrasting stories, one shared destiny. Anisimova, the artist, whose shot-making flows like poetry, who has battled personal demons and injuries to rediscover her magic. She represents resilience, youth, and the hope of American tennis. Sabalenka, the warrior whose power and determination make her one of the most intimidating forces in the game. She represents dominance, perseverance, and the pursuit of legacy. Their clash promises to be not just a tennis match, but a collision of philosophies. The crowd's energy. Fans leaving Ash buzzed with excitement. On the subway platforms, conversations replayed the highlights. Anisimova's fearless returns, Sabalenka's thunderous serves. Everyone had an opinion on who would win the final. This feels like a changing of the guard, one fan said. No, another countered. This feels like Sabalenka finally claiming her empire. Both were right in their own way. Scene 4, the legacy at stake. For Anisimova, reaching 2 Grand Slam finals in a single season is monumental. For someone who stepped away from the sport in 2023, her rise is almost surreal. A win here would mark her first major, cementing her place among the sports stars. For American tennis, it would be another beacon of hope alongside Coco Gauff. For Sabalenka, this final is not just another match. It is the chance to erase the ghosts of New York, where heartbreak has haunted her in the past. A win would add to her slam collection and reinforce her status as the dominant force of the era. Scene 5, live reaction highlights. Twitter/X explodes. Anisimova is back. What a story. Goosebumps everywhere. Sabalenka is just a beast. No one can handle her power when she's locked in. Final we didn't know we needed, power versus poetry. Commentators take. Chris Evert. This is the Amanda we all hope to see again. She's fearless, and that's dangerous. John McEnroe. Sabalenka is just terrifying. If she plays like this, good luck beating her. Fans in Ash, the chants alternated between Amanda and Aryna. Late into the night, a preview of the divided loyalties the final will bring. Scene 6, looking ahead. The final promises a collision of contrasts. Anisimova's elegance and shot variety versus Sabalenka's raw power and intensity. The home favorite versus the world's juggernaut. A player chasing her first slam versus a player chasing her legacy. For the fans, it's a win-win. No matter who lifts the trophy. Day 12 has already etched itself into memory as the night when 2 different kinds of greatness emerged.